We'll get started here, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. My name is Laura Fries, and I'm the Marketing Manager at Strategic Information Group, and I'll be your host for today's webinar on Mobile Field Desk Solution for GERP. Really excited about this mobile suite of apps for QAD, and hope you'll find today's webinar helpful as Broom Street demonstrates how Field Desk mobile app can help improve QAD service and support management productivity by using mobile devices. I'd also like to mention that Broom Street is QAD's Solution Partner of the Year. Okay, before our presenters get started, I'd like to mention a few housekeeping details about the webinar. So, Martin, if you go to slide 2. All participants will be in listen-only mode, and please enter your questions in the chat window, and these by default will be sent to me, the host. And as the presentation, we'll answer as many questions as we can during the Q&A portion of the webinar. This is being recorded, and so if you miss any portion, we'll be emailing it to you with the recording link. I think we're ready to get started, so please. This time, I'd like to introduce Mike Cook, who's the VP of Sales at Strategic. Mike, I'll turn it over to you.
Some of our partners.
And, can you repeat, because you were on mute?
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us here today. And I'd like to introduce Broom Street here today as one of our best partners. And as was mentioned, they are recognized by QAD as Solution Partner of the Year, as well as SIG. So this year at Explore, SIG was anointed with Sales Partner of the Year. We're very honored to have that distinction. So most of you know SIG. We're a premier provider of services, upgrades. One of the things that we're headed into recently is QMS, which is the new quality product within QAD, and validation services, training, support, anything you might need as a full-service organization across all verticals. So we're honored to have you here today, and again, with one of our very best partners in Broom Street. We've had a relationship for coming up on 2 decades now, and we're just excited to have them present to you today. If you can go next slide. So some quick introductions. We have Steve McHugh, who's the Broom Street CEO, and then also Martin Cohen, and he's the IO and will be doing most of the presentation today. So I'd like to take it away, Martin. Thanks again, everybody, for joining. We'll have Q&A at the end of this session.
Mike, and thanks, Laura. Appreciate the kind words. We also appreciate the business relationship and partnership between SIG and Broom Street. That today's agenda. We're going to go to a very quick presentation, really get to the meat of it, and do a live demo of our Field Desk app, which has a direct hook into the QAD SSM module. Following that, we'll go into a Q&A session, answer any questions that you have. I mentioned by Laura, we were selected as the 2015 Solution Partner of the Year, specifically for the mobile desk product suite of apps for your system. Just stats about Broom Street software. We got some numbers here. 4 years will represent the maturity of the mobile desk solution. We started building the system 4 years ago. We've been in production for a few now. 20-year represents how long Broom Street's been in business. Actually, it's about 23 years now. And all of those 23 years, we've been completely dedicated to providing services and bolt-on intellectual property products for your QAD system. 100 years represents your mobile desk team. We have a team of individuals that are dedicated to building the entire product. If you combined all of their years of experience, which is about 70 people, it adds up to about 100 years of QAD application and technical experience, with including progress. So, Desk solution. Today, we're going to be focusing on Field Desk. in particular, which is the mobile application that allows your engineers to do enormous amount of data recording and reading and writing back to the QAD database to the SSM module. But that said, along with Field Desk, the mobile desk suite includes all these other apps. If there is a question about these other technologies, please feel free to reach out to your SIE sales rep, and we can explore the opportunities that how we can mobilize your system. All these apps are written specifically for the QAD system. We do not write them for any other ERP system, and they are included with the mobile desk product. So you don't just get Field Desk, but you get all these. So personalize your experience. Just a quick brief overview of this. What this means is that very critical that the data that's presented in the app, in this case we're looking at the Field Desk app, would be only the engineer's calls that he is to be concerned with. So on the back end, there's a control center for mobile desk, and that's where you would enter in your mobile desk engineer users, and you would define exactly which that they would see. All the apps within the mobile desk suite. This way, as an example, if you download an app that wants to look at the weather, you're only interested in your weather or your stock quotes on the stock quote app. Mobile desk works the same way as a mobile experience. You only see exactly what you want the user to see. So, very important piece of the technology. For what's on the line, if there's a concern about what versions we support, there should be no concern. We support all versions. Actually, you go back to 9.0, believe it or not. There's EB2, SE, all flavors of EE and SE. We can on-premise and in the cloud, and the cloud meaning that could be either the QAD cloud or your own personal cloud. In concert with that, we support all Progress versions 9, 10, and 11. And just to mention, all operating systems, whether it's any flavor of Unix, Linux, or Windows, it will work with pretty much any operating system. Using areas of field service, there are 3 components on the mobile side that we the whole picture together. We have QAD SSM call center and dispatch, which is your standard QAD product. Modifications are done in here. We don't touch your standard product, or we don't modify any code within that product. But we're going to be looking at it today. I'll be bringing up a screen and do the demo so that we can see me actually enter a call and go through the process of pretending I'm an engineer on my iPhone and do data recording and collection and show you what's available. What the mobile desk engineer technician piece is, that is the Field Desk app where you'll do all your data recording and such. The Medulla Pro is the third piece to the puzzle, so to speak. We're not going to be looking at that today, but at a future time, if it's something you'd be interested in, of course, reach out to your local SIG rep, and we can set up a time where we can explore and show you that technology. But what it does, in a nutshell, is basically it allows you to actually monitor your engineers in the field on a map real time. So if you're interested where we are currently around the world, this technology will allow you to do that. And with that, it can also handle the scheduling. So you can do your monitoring and scheduling right from one full application instead of sort of using the call center to do such activities as scheduling. But the monitoring can be very, very beneficial if you want to know where your engineers are. The bullet points, let's talk about this piece of it, because that's really the main of what we're going to look at the engineer in the field. So I'm just going to click on this. This is we're going to just talk about Field Desk, and then we're going to go right into the demo. We do have some business challenges. I'm sure anybody does field service with the SSM module and QAD understands this. You know, our job is to deliver that exceptional field service and maintain profitability. The resources that are in their field are reps. We want to make them aware of the calls instantaneously and have direct communication with them and the back office constantly all the time. So we also want to get that accurate information from the field real time updated into the QAD system. So we're going to improve the efficiency and productivity of these field engineers. That's our real challenge. And benefits is it's just going to raise that customer satisfaction by meeting SLAs that are out in the field, contractual warranty and contracts and such. We're lowering costs by saving time. They can manage their spare parts, the engineers in the field on their truck. They can actually order parts as well. shipped directly to themselves or to their, or actually to the customer. We high quality data. It's just all real time while customer site, and we're going to see that actually happen. Go to the demo, and so therefore increasing the productivity of our field engineers without them filling out manual paperwork, having it sent back to the office via fax, or till the end of the day to have the back office updated to know exactly what's going on with these service calls. It will happen in real time, as though the user was sitting in front of QAD keying in the information. So features at a high level, get the alerts. The engineers will be notified of new material orders if they request some, and of course any new service calls that they need to address, and they can accept and reject those calls. Along with that, they can review calls, allow engineers to see what's out there in the past by a serial number, whether they're on site, and see all the serial numbers at that site. They can see all the call history done to that particular serial number. Very powerful. Them do their job as best as possible. We're going to be recording all their activity, their estimated time of arrival, when they arrive, their labor expenses, parts, faults, and notes, all written back to QAD. We have GPS integration, which allows you to the field engineer, when he gets the alert, that he can actually map himself right to the customer location. Record images. Some of our customers, our engineers, are out there taking pictures of bad parts. Maybe they're replacing a pump or a kisser or such, and they can actually take a picture of that, which would be captured and actually, believe it or not, sent back to QAD, stored right on the call as a JPEG. So, again, always talking back to the main system. If they need inventory, they can order the parts, manage their parts. They can view inventory to see, and actually make cycle count adjustments, run a mobile device, and see the install base for a particular customer. So that, we're going to move on to the next slide, which is the actual demo. So what I do here is I'm going to have my phone up here, and this is my personal iPhone 5, and it's all real time. And over here, we're going to enter our call. So the first part of the process is simply go into QAD. I'm just going to enter a call again. This is standard product. There's no intervention here whatsoever of the screens. So if you have customizations in these areas, don't fret. We can work through them. It's not a problem. So I'm going to enter a call today. The end user, which is Children's Hospital here in Philadelphia. And screens. My field desk engineer is J. Smith. So I'm just going to put in J. Smith. And then I simply set the status to dispatch. That's all you have to do. And pretty much, if I go through the screens, the call, which we can see is call number 41, and that's the call entered. So what has just happened? Well, what happened is that engineer, believe it or not, actually got a text. So I'm going to close this screen, and here's my phone. And if I bring up my texting, you will hopefully there see, and there's that top text. So while we do this, three engineers set up on the mobile desk backend with their mobile phone number, so to speak, so you can actually send a text to it. And this will actually inform with either a audible sound, obviously we're using texting, or visual on their phone, or they get the vibration to let them know that they've been assigned to a call. At the point, since it's interactive, the user would then come into field desk. So I'm just going to slide on over here, and my field desk app. As you get apps on my phone that are part of mobile desk. And notice that the numbers here are 868, and hit the refresh, and just that it was to a 9, and dispatch calls went to 7, open until 8. Well, let's take a look at that alert. If I touch the screen and I come in, you will see that my call number 241 is right here. It's available to me, and now I have a option to touch it and see details on it. At the bottom of the screen, the end user engineer can either accept or decline the call, which again gets written back to QAD. But at this point, I can see I have these little what we call slider, typical iPhone or Android function. And I just use my finger and just slide the screen. The first screen gives us some information about the number, the model, the color, service type, all this information. Very important to know about the customer. If I go next screen, it's going to the address. So at this point, I can just simply touch Open in Maps. It'll pick what's on your phone that's available and map you to that location. So, and I'm 46 minutes away. So, what do you see in this screen? Well, we got a couple more slides here, as we can see. What else can we see? Well, there's no notes on the call yet, so that'll change as the engineer goes through the process. We can see the call contract, warranty, and contract end and start and the install date. Again, this is data, so not every field is filled out. Then is the install base. Actually, this is the install base of all the parts that are at that customer site at Children's Hospital. So I see all the items that are there. Anytime I see this caret, it's another drill. If I wanted to see maybe a different, we're doing 1X today, but maybe I want to see this one here. If I click on it, I get some information about install date, when preventive maintenance is, warranty expiration. Again, it's giving that field engineer complete access to all information needed about what's going on with that customer, not just that particular part that they're working on. They can see everything. And the S screen is actually all the history that has been done to that particular item. So all history on that serial number. Maybe he wants to go back in time and see what has been done to it, preventive maintenance and such. And of course, you can drill it simply by touching the screen. We'll pick on that one. And it comes up again, the same screen, and we can see all this information about the call that was done. So we get the notes and such. If there was any notes, there were no notes here, but we can see what the previous engineer or what you have done in the past on that particular. So in this case, I'm going to accept the call because I am available. I'm going to fix it. I just touch this accept button on the bottom, and it comes up with some remarks, and the user can say whatever they want. They can touch the screen here. They can key it in, but we do take advantage of the keyboard of an Android and iOS device, and we can either type it in or we can actually just use the microphone. I accept. So it immediately sent to the data server that I accepted the call. What does it mean? Well, you notice that my alerts went down, but I read the alert. My dispatch calls went from 7 to 6. Now I have an open working call that went from 8 to 9. But on the back end is a question, what's going on over there? Well, if I get into the call, you'll notice that it is now active. So QED was immediately updated at that point in time. So the back office knows that he took the call. It's always updating the notes time on this call so we can see what's going on the back office. I am going to go into this open work call. So I'm going to come in here, and there's my 41. I'm pretty busy engineer, a lot of open calls. Normally I wouldn't have that many, but we're testing here. So I come in, and you'll notice you get the same screen. So you get the same slider, so he can open up in Maps, but there's, notice at the bottom now it just says actions, no more accept or deny, because at this point I now can do my call activity. So the engineer, he can route it again if he wants to. He put in his estimated time of arrival. So I add ETA. If I green, I'm going to say select today's date, and I'm going to at the time. I'm going to say it brings up the current time, 1:19. So I'm going to say I'm going to be there in a few minutes. I'm pretty close actually. So 1:25. I save it. Immediately, that's been sent back to the office, to the QED system, real time. So they're aware that you are what your ETA is. If I hit the end button again, when I get there, I just hit arrived. Hit my phone, brings up the current time. We're going to switch it. We're going to share it this time. And it's probably going to take me about 2 hours to fix this. So I just sent the server. All right. So far, our arrival time. So we're there now. The engineers are there right now. One thing I mentioned, kind of important, is that these buttons here that allow you to do all these activities, including closing the call, you can actually force the user ID that they enter in certain information. So A lot of times, you know, you don't want that CSR to miss. If you always want them to enter in their arrival time or their ETA or their labor, they can get to the next button, so to speak, until they complete the previous button. So you can set up that hierarchy by user ID. You can take away some of these buttons on the back end if they're not something that you want your engineers to do. So you can control the experience of the data that your engineer is going to enter in the field to make sure that all data collection is done efficiently, properly, and QAD is updated constantly. If I go back to QAD briefly for 1 second here, and go back into the call, I go down to the line item. We'll just click line item, and maybe we can get to those notes. Comments flag is checked, and we'll just see what brings up, and see that he's accepted the call and his estimated arrival time. We're going to do I'm going to put labor now. We take advantage of all the standard QAD functions here, like standard operations. Anytime you see a little like this, that means it's a lookup, almost like a browse in QAD. If I touch it, it will bring the level that's in the system. I'm going to bring up labor, all the work codes and service categories. Again, all in QAD just picks it up real time on the back end. This is all real time. So I'm just going to take the defaults that got keyed in here, and I can do either manual labor or I can check in, check out. For today, I'm just going to do some manual labor. I'm just going to come in here and say I spent 2 hours on it, start time, and you can even put in a charge code if you want. So right there. So there we go. I'm just going to say save, and labor's been reported. So down the list, we can put in our expenses. I have to do these, but we're just going to go through them. So we reporting, and we get all these lookups and such. I'm just going to say quantity of 1 and a cost of, let's say, 100. And save that. So now this is to the call. Now you can add parts. Something on it, and you need to you can do a lot serial, do a lookup. This a barcode reader. We actually take advantage of the camera on the phone. So if you're sitting there and you want to scan a label, you just touch that screen. It brings up this window, and you can scan a barcode. And you did that. In this case, I don't think that's a valid one, so I'm just going to erase it, and I'll just click on this, and I'll just pick on one in here, like 5. Chart codes, covered. And this all works whether you're on Wi-Fi, cellular, 3G, 4G, LTE, anywhere on the planet as long as you're connected to the internet. I'm going to hit save that we have consumed. And we're going to go into fault codes. Let's see what was the problem. Well, the problem was it turned on. Again, this is all set up on the back end, standard QAD. There was no electricity. Resolution was I just fixed the problem, and I spent 2 hours. As I thought, I saved that. Codes have been entered. You can add notes. If you want particular notes to the call, we're not going to do any of those today. But we're going to take a picture because I took that part. I want to take a picture of that bad part. So I can add an image. I'd say choose a picture. I can photo, or I can choose from my library of photos that's on my phone. In this case, I'm going to take a picture. And a picture of my laptop. You can see, you can either retake it or use the photo. So I'm just going to say I'm going to use that photo. Maybe put a short description. Part. And then save. To the server. We'll see what that looks like on the back end. So right now I've done, maybe I forget while I'm on here, let's bring this up. We've done some of our parts, our faults, our notes, and images almost through the call. We can actually hit this call summary. So sometimes you just don't remember what you've entered. You don't want to go through all these buttons. You can hit call summary at any time, and it'll tell you exactly what you've done. So you get this little list of what I've accomplished on this call. Make sure I put in everything I wanted. So me as an engineer, I got everything in there that I need. There's also this button called checklist. This is brand functionality. We just added this. And what does that mean? Well, a lot of users out there where they have a checklist that they like to define that when you go there, maybe it's a maintenance call where you got to do this, and this. So you can come up and you can actually choose. These are all the checklists. We call them colors, but you can obviously call them whatever you want. I'll pick all those. And then you have a height, and you can put a number. And there's validation on the back end if you need to, like if you want to say for this particular date, they have a certain range. So we validate integers, dates, logicals that you can set up, whether it passed or failed. So I'll say it passed. I check the power plug. Here, enter in a comment if you want. It's going to save that. Notice that we have a little bit of a validation there. It says it's greater than the max. So there's an example of our validation. So I'm just going to put in a number of like 5. Excellent. So I've done that particular function of doing my checklist. So I go through and I look at my call summary and I see I've done everything I need to do. I close this call at the customer site. So what do we do? We come down here and there's a call summary close button, I should say. If I touch that, it bring up the current date and time, the contact for the email. I'm going to put in email of the customer. In this case, I'm going to pretend I'm the customer, so I'm going to put in email. And if that particular contact is in your contact list, it'll actually bring that in for you. Since it's not, I'm going to type it in. broomstreet.com. I put in any notes again. This is a note for closing the call. For call. Now, acting a little silly there. And we can do, a button there, it looks like. We go back into our call. Working calls, 241. And we were using a call. My email in again. Do an electronic signature, have the customer use their finger and do a little signature there, all right? So if all looks good, I'll say close. It'll do some error checking. Or you want to close it? Sure. And it will only allow you to close the call. Everything looks good. Data sent to server. You'll notice that at the top, my call is now gone. And my open working calls went from 9 to 8. So all is now being closed. So if we go back into QAD, let's take a look at what's going on with our call. So 41. As soon as I go into the call, that I have attachments here. This PDF here, I'm going to click on it. And we have a call report. This would be your logo of your company. You would set that. But all the information that I my mobile device shows here. Very powerful. So on the call itself, we get the actual call information, and you will see that the electronic signature and the date. So this is the actual report. This is the same report that I put in that would be going to the customer when I put email address. So I put in my own email address. So I open up my email. You'll notice that go alert 241, and you'll see the customer would have gotten, this is what they would have received, which is exactly the same PDF. with all the information in their signature. So there. If you also see two other, well, I got a JPEG here. Let's click on that. The pictures that the user has taken on site. Everything attached to the call real time. It's just a simple signature. It's just the signature of the customer that we separate out. So the attachments, you'll notice that the call status is now complete. It's closed. This call is now being completely serviced from the field without interaction of the QE system. We're getting extension of the system in the palm of our hand here. That said, let's go through a few of these other screens. What else can we do here? Well, we looked at alerts. We looked at dispatch calls. Again, that's the ones that are dispatched to me that I would accept that are out there. The ones that I'm working on. Open labor, that was that piece when I said manual. If I didn't say manual and I wanted to check in, check out, I would come into here and this number would increase as I enter my labor. Material orders, MOs and QAD, we hook into that so we can actually order product and ship it. So do one of those and see what that looks like, because the engineer gets an alert on that. He'll see all his MOs, all his service calls come as alerts, and he'll actually also get a text. So what's going on with the material that he has ordered with him, and we'll take a look. Call, again, this is functionality. Not everybody needs this functionality, but perhaps he's out there, the engineer, and he needs to, while out there, he sees one of those other serial numbers. Remember, when he's in his open working call, he can see all the items that are out there at the customer site. He might say, we got to do some preventive maintenance here on this one. It's not looking too good. He actually enter a call, and it'll be put into the system and get assigned to it. So you can enter a call, the SSM module. Manage orders is the MO, so I'm going to come in here. A few options here. Do I have any orders pending, me, an engineer? Well, right now I do not. I can search for orders that I've requested by item, order date, name, and status. If I leave it blank, it's a catch-all, and you can see I've been ordering some parts here at Children's Hospital, and it brings all up that I've ordered. If I touch one of them, up the information about the order, date, customer, address, and you'll notice the item down here. If I touch the item, you can actually drill into the item, and you can actually see whether or not it's been shipped, picked, ordered, when to do. So we're giving the engineer complete visibility into not only the call itself, but any parts that he might have to order when he's out in the field. So let's do real quick, because again, it's very simple. Very simple to give this technology to an engineer. Everybody's used to iPhones and Androids. The application uptime process is not very long. Here I can request for order. I'm going to request, well, I close the other call, so I'm just going to request this call, the one before it. So I close my other one. The ship to would be the end user. Your ship via, again, any remarks. It's required today with a due of today. And that you might want to send. We're going to item. One. And let's see what we got in the system. So we'll just order that part with a quantity. One. And one part. I'll just come here and request for order. It all looks good. You'll notice that it now says 1 because we know it has one item. I'll just hit submit. It'll do some thing. If it's good, the order would have gone into the system. So, and that quickly, you can see the system came back to me. It gave me a text and it told me that there's a new material order. There's the order number 45. So that, and my alerts went to 9, material is 32. If I go into the alerts, what is that new alert? It's going to my material order. There it is. And it says it's a new order. And it gets shipped and such, they would get those alerts as well. So if I'm into the material order, I can see all the information about the order all down to the line item and a quantity ordered of 1 and has not been picked or shipped yet. So material order side of the system, and you do have searching capability. If I say search for orders and leave it blank, 45. that was in the system. All real-time reading the system. It's not hosted. It's just going out every time I touch the screen, reading it through the internet back to the QED system and grabbing information. So we got a couple more screens here. Manage inventory. If I go into the manage inventory section, I can actually cycle count the inventory that's in my truck by site, location, lot, serial. Again, using this means we can do barcode reading if need be. You can even, just to mention, if you don't want to use the camera on the back of the phone, buy yourself a relatively inexpensive Bluetooth device. Scanning, they sell from anywhere from $50 to $200. Just pair it with the phone, and that's it. It will act as basically an extension of the keyboard, and whatever you scan will show up. So they can do their cycle counting, and you can also search inventory and what's available to them. And when I just left it blank to run it wide open, and I can see my site, my part number, lot, serial, status available, when it expires, the current quantity, and such. So lots and lots of powerful information for the engineer out in the field to do his job efficiently, properly, saving time, saving money, and updating the back office instantly. So the back office knows what's going on with every single call. And again, if you'd used our Medular Pro in concert with it, you would actually be able to see physically where that engineer is on a map. And this last button here is our install base button. So what is it about? Well, that just gives you the ability to do it by the end user code or name or item number, and just do a report. So you're only going to see the items you are assigned to as the engineer. So, and it's that back-end user experience that's telling you, the user, what they can see on their mobile device. And this, again, works for all of our apps. So that is pretty much what this app can do. Hopefully you get a sense that it can basically manage the entire call without an intervention of the back office, but at the same time having that back office aware what's going on, materials that are coming in, inventory that's being consumed, where their engineers are. It really makes the whole service call activity process more efficient, makes it more cost effective. That is pretty much in the app. There is this last button, which is the call history. And again, you can search here if you want to see all the call history that you have done. You can see that as well, and then you can drill into it. So there's a lot of reporting here, capability, giving the engineer a sense of what's going on out in the field with these numbers of self-service them, and completely bi-directional real time. So the field desk app, real time. We looked at QE to see how it updates the back end. So back to our slides here. That was the real-time demo. So our next slide. Wrong. Last slide before I turn it back over for some Q&A. It's just our mobile desk value proposition. So the way this system is priced out is you just pay a monthly fee by user. That user is a name user, which means that any user within its part of the solution can use any or all of these apps. They don't necessarily can use just Field Desk. They can use other apps as well. So what we've done is we've mobilized areas of the QED system that you probably want to be mobilized in. A lot of these apps are on the order side of the system, like Sales Desk and Order Desk. Purchasing, again, most of these apps are bi-directional. Since in Purchasing Desk, you can approve requisitions. In Order Desk, you can take somebody off credit hold. Meanwhile, experiencing only those customers of that territory, that region that you're responsible for, or see everything. So these apps are on the store for an Apple and Android, and also have a web portal where you can actually go to a web portal that we host, included with the price, and use a lot of these apps. All the apps are on the web portal. Field Desk isn't, because it lends itself to using the phone, not a laptop, and small device, taking pictures and such. But most of the other apps are on there. But for particular, Field Desk is available on Android and on Apple. All you got to do is go to the Apple Store or Google Play on your mobile device. Don't matter if it's a pad or a phone or what version of or what kind of device you have. Simply search on Broom Street. 2 words, and you will see the apps that are available. You can download them for free. They are hitting the same database that you looked at just now. It's hitting our test database. Is the total value proposition, and of course we do customizations, and we will with existing customizations that you have. If you've customized the SSM module, it's not a problem. Since technology is all written in progress, using Progress technology and Tomcat, so there's no technology here that you're not going to be unfamiliar with your IT staff. So, all said, I think I'll turn it back over to Laura for questions.
Thanks, Martin and Mike. Okay, to start the Q&A portion of the webinar, so everyone make sure that you've typed your questions in the chat window and send to me, the host. Looks like we have a pricing/cost question. So can you tell us what the cost and pricing is?
Basically, it's a SaaS model, so we do not charge upfront for installation or configuration of the system. We charge by user. Each user it starts off at $55 per user. So if you have 10 engineers in the field, you spend $550 a month. $550, you get the entire system, all the apps actually, not just Field Desk. You get the whole system. They can use any one app or a combination of the apps, each user. And as you surpass the 10 user, that's our minimum amount, 11 users, 12 users, 13 users, the price drops per user. So if you're at 15 users, instead of being $55 a user, it might be $53 a user or such. So the more users you have, the lower the price per user.
Thank you for answering that. I had another question. Do comments go to the mobile app?
Do comments. Steve, do you have an answer on that one?
Yes, they do. If you would have comments on the call, you would have seen it on the first screen. When you created the call, it will show on the device. Yes, to answer your question, that's a yes.
Great. Another question here. Does this replace QAD's remote SSM offering?
Yes.
Does the Broom Street user need to be a QAD user? What type of setup, training, and continuing support do you provide in the per your prices already paid or additional cost?
Up front, in particular for Field Desk, a lot of the other apps like Order Desk and Purchasing Desk, there really isn't much training up front. With Field Desk, there's usually we get about 3 to 4 days of working with us, setting up the call report so that it has your logo and such, and if you want to change the call report. Training, we got to set up the back end with the proper statuses. We use dispatch and such, and you got to coordinate that with the mobile setup. So there's a little bit of setup. I would say 3 weeks of effort to work with your business unit, your SSM module, and your business unit manager to work out the details. But as far as the end user, the engineer in the field, again, like to mention, because it is a mobile app, any other app, it's very intuitive, very simple to use, the interface, the UX. So we really separated the business logic from the UX. So I think it's sort of training the trainer. One person gets familiar with the app, but I think the end user won't require much training at all.
Or I'd like to interject. There was a couple questions there. One was on mobile field service and does this replace it? And the answer is QAD is still, to my knowledge, selling mobile field service. Does Broom Street do a lot of that? Absolutely. So I don't know if replace is the right word. It's not like Field Service is gone and Broom Street is replacing it. Both are available, but obviously this is a great alternative. One other area of clarification regarding QED licenses, it may, is the right answer. It depends on how you're using it, if it's bidirectional, where the data is going, and really talk to your SIG or QED representative regarding that. I don't want to make sure everybody's, if you're hitting the QED database and information is bidirectional, then there could be licensing requirements, is how I'd structure that comment. So talk with your rep, talk with me, and we'll consult with you on that.
Okay. Thank you. We have another question. We deal with scheduling technicians to teams for multi-day projects. What apps should I explore to understand your scheduling functionality?
You did today, but that would be the Medulla Pro software, and a really great tool to do scheduling, Gantt charts, calendars. You can create teams, you can create work areas, and it also, what it will do is you can is on a map, so you know exactly where your field engineers are if you so choose to track your engineers in that manner. So the Medulla Pro software is really, and Martin looks like he's bringing that document up, but that's really a great software. It's not a mobile app, meaning you'll mostly be doing this in your back office to schedule engineers, figure out if there are any conflicts in scheduling, either on holiday or training and things of that nature. So if you want more information on that or want a demo of Medulla Pro, we can set that up.
One more question. How does labor tracking integrate with QAD for field service?
The labor tracking, when you record labor in Field Desk, it is actually recording labor in call activity recording in QAD. So if you're familiar with that, that's where your labor dollars will go if labor rate set up by the work code. So it's integrated with QAD, but it's feeding into the call activity module of the call system engagement. So hopefully that answers your question.
Great. So this then here's another question. So this interfaces with QAD SSM field schedule module.
Not what does. Well, you can. If you're in the QAD field scheduler module, if you're familiar with that, what that will do is you're able to change a call to the end. You can assign an engineer to a call, and when that status happens, that feeds into QAD's call, which would then trigger the mobile device to get a text message. When Martin changed the status of the call from open to dispatched, that would trigger to the mobile app. If you're using Field Service Scheduler, it would create that initial status for you on your business. You'd be on your way. So yes, the mobile app does interface with the scheduling system QAD.
Great. One question here: how does it integrate with Salesforce CRM in terms of using history?
That's an open question for us, but data in Salesforce that you need to present on a mobile device. We don't provide that. We would have to work with yourself. If you have history data in Salesforce that you want to show on the mobile app, we would have to work with the Salesforce people to get that data from the mobile device. The question there is to bring that tree back into QAD somewhere, and we can pull it from there. Would be the easiest, but we're more than happy to scout it, pull it directly from Salesforce.
Let's see any other questions coming in. So, time. We'd like to keep the webinar, an hour or close to an hour. So any questions that we haven't answered will be handled on an individual basis. And if you'd like any further information, a demo, or if you think of any other questions at all, please don't hesitate to contact us at sales@strategic.com, or you can contact your strategic sales representative as well. Thank you again for your participation today, and we look forward to having you join us for another strategic webinar in the future.